93, 93, 93. This is Amon Asha Renew from AshaRenew.com. As always, it's about midnight, West Coast time. So it's about 3 a.m. East Coast time. Shout out to the 3 a.m. All right, we're back in here for another one. Late night conversation. Not going to be on here too long. Just want to reflect a little bit. Let y'all know what's been going on here. So the title of this particular video, so Dank Wizard, it's good with you. Salute to you. Salute to you. This particular video is called, what's up, Cam? 93, 93. Salute, salute. Y'all funny, man. Y'all be up late as fuck. Y'all be up late as fuck. I thought it would just be, what's up, Immortal 72, 93, we don't sleep. Apparently so. Man, you over there in the east. Yeah, much respect to y'all. Much respect. See, y'all, my energy is already changing. Much respect to y'all. Much respect. Much respect. That's why I got to keep showing up, right? I'm going to keep showing up, regardless of whom or what. Right? Right, right. We're in the 23rd day, the energy of Aries, right? We just did the video of Aries, right? The 23rd degree, right? Wisdom, understanding. You must be wise in your understanding in order to show forth your power. You have to be wise in your understanding, meaning even if you know better than everybody around you, you still have to approach everything with finesse. That's why your power must have refinement. You got to have it with finesse. So you may be the best knower. You may know exactly how to solve particular problems. But those things are not necessarily meant to just be blurted out. We always must utilize finesse. So even when you have the power, even when you decide, okay, I'm going to change the situation, it must be done with finesse, right? Wisdom, understanding, all been born to power, refinement. All right, so this particular energy is called dirty auras and energy parasites. Now, the reason why I want to talk about this is because earlier, I was doing a little shopping. And, because my diet is drastically changed. And again, I've been talking about my diet, right? No meat, dairy, soy, wheat, sugar. And of course, I didn't cut out the smoking for now. Like I'm eating as clean as I've ever eaten in my entire life. This is the cleanest I've probably been in my entire life, right? That's just how extreme I'm going, right? I'm taking it to the absolute max. So this is making me more sensitive. Like I'm already sensitive just being spiritual. Also, the second part of the video is called how to rank up in the spirit world. So that'll be the part 2 of this video. So I'm already sensitive as is, being spiritually minded and all that, right? Being able to feel energy. But now it wasn't ever this serious. It wasn't ever this serious. What I mean by that is, again, I'm just shopping, right? Doing regular shit. But it's like I can feel people's aura. I can feel it, and it's like it disgusts me. Like it's like certain people's auras was disgusting me, which wasn't really the case before. Like I'm sensitive to people's energy, but like it wasn't to the point where I just feel disgusted. I'm like, what is going on here? It's like I can feel everything that a person has going on. Like a person didn't even have to walk past me. They can just be in my vicinity. And I'm like, man, this motherfucker is, it's like, it's just something wrong with this person. I'm like, well, yeah. What do you really expect when you're dealing with the 85%? The poison animal eaters, right? They don't know their origin in this world. So these people are just living with no dietary law. These people are living with no discipline. And it's like impossible for me to even be amongst these people at this point. What's up, Montu? 93. It's impossible for me to even be amongst these people. I'm like, wait a minute. It's like I can feel everything a person does. I'm like, okay. Cause I tried like, is it just me? Then it happened again with someone else. I'm like, man, some of these people walking around this bitch are very disgusting people, right? Your aura probably got bigger. That's possible too. I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that whatsoever. Something is going on because I'm like, their aura has parasites due to their disgusting way of life. They're living like beasts. Their beast way of life. They're living like savages. They have lost the knowledge of themselves, right? These lessons ain't just lessons to me no more. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, damn, it's different when you start seeing this shit. And you can feel it to the point where this is undeniable. I'm like, damn, there's people walking around with energy parasites. Again, body parasites is one thing. You get body parasites, from eating the wrong foods, right? He likes the devil because the devil gives him nothing. So you already have body parasites, without a dietary law. But what I mean by energy parasites is this goes into the desires, the emotions, and the thoughts of a person. Meaning this person has disgusting, unfiltered thoughts. Their desires are absolutely ridiculous, and their emotions are uncontrollable to the point where when they come amongst me, it's like this. I just feel so much chaos. I'm like, this person is not at peace. Meaning, I can tell when a person is not at peace. I'm like, these people is not at peace at all. Then people be doing little strange ass shit. I'm like, why are people fucking watching me? No, I'm not talking about like the employees. I'm talking about just regular people fucking looking at what I'm doing and shit. Wanna be close and shit. I'm like, why do you motherfuckers wanna be close to me and shit? Right? Anyway, that's why I had to put on the hater blockers, right? I already know. I just keep picking these motherfuckers up. I'm like, nah, this shit is becoming like an essential part of the magic right here. Give me a second. Like I gotta put on the motherfucking hater blockers, right? I'm not even a person that even. I was never a person that even wore sunglasses. This is not even really my thing. All right. I didn't start doing this till I came to the West Coast. Right. It wasn't until I got to the West Coast. But that's always been the West Coast style. Like when you go back to like Easy E always had like the gangster shades on, right? The skaters always had the gangster shades on, right? But now I understand why. I understand why they shield their eyes. For one, we understand that the ancestors didn't even like to take pictures, the older ancestors, because they felt like their soul was captured in the photograph, right? So the old elders didn't even like pictures, right? Then, when I came to the West Coast, I'm like, yeah, a lot of gangsters wear, the shades. They don't like their eyes being seen. I understand that now. Because when you didn't really put in some serious work, when you didn't really ranked up in these streets, your eyes are not for the world anymore. Your energy is really not for the world anymore, right? What's up, Nefertiti? What's up? What's up? Your energy is not for the world anymore. Meaning, these people cannot be seen. I mean, if you really gangster, you really putting in work, you can't just walk down the street, right? 93, 93. You can't just walk down the street. You can't just get on the bus. You can't just get on the train. You gotta move in incognito mode. Like your life has to be incognito. It's the same thing with celebrities and famous people, right? It's like they can't be amongst the people anymore because the people have no fucking self control. So yeah, what's the first thing that people want to do? They want to get pictures, right? They want to take pictures. But when you are amongst the people, when you are a person of the people, you can't really deny people. So you have to put the shades on. Like, all right, I really don't want to take a picture, but if I gotta take the picture just to show that I respect the people, then I'm gonna have to put these shades on to keep my spirit and keep my soul out of this imagery that who the fuck knows what the fuck they're about to do with it. Again, right? There's a science behind the shades. It's not just used for the sun, and I'm beginning to understand that. I'm beginning to understand that now. Again, I never been the shade dude. Right, my whole childhood, my whole teenage years, I never cared about sunglasses. I didn't even wear hats. No shades, no hats. That was just never my style. Right, I was just more so the pretty boy. Right, but again, when I got to the West Coast, I'm like the whole aura changed. Right, again, it's like I'm just completely different at this point. Right, I wasn't like this before. Right, at all. I wasn't like this at all. But the more and more I become sensitive to people's energy, it's like I just don't even want to be amongst a person, right? For example, again, like I was saying earlier, I'm in the store. Then I'm in the same aisle as a person. They're like playing music from their cell phone, right? So they're in the store and they're playing music from their cell phone out loud, not in headphones. They're playing their music out loud. So immediately I thought this person has no peace. If you gotta walk into a store and you can't even shop without putting your own music on, this person has no peace. This is the type of person that gotta sleep with the TV on. They gotta sleep with the radio on. We all know these type of people. Like silence scares them. Right? They whether they got PTSD, whatever it is, like silence scares them. The last thing they want to do is be alone, and the last thing they want to hear is silence. Because when I think about me, I'm like, I love that shit, right? I love that shit. I love silence, and I love just being amongst my own energy. I like building up my own energy, first and foremost, introvert. I don't know. It's like I feel like an introvert, but I don't think I am an introvert. I don't know. Because y'all see how much I be running my mouth here, right? I don't think introverts like even doing what I do. So again, these are just modern day terms that we use. So I'm just using these terms just so people can understand. But this is what I mean. Like I receive the whole downloads about a person. I'm like, all right, I don't even want to be around that energy, right? I'm like, this motherfucker has no experience with silence for whatever reason. I don't know what happened in this person's life, but I can tell. I didn't like. I completely left the area. I'm like, I don't even want to pass this person. I don't even want to interact with this person. I don't even want to cross paths. I'm like, I have to exit the area. So like, I kept finding myself just trying to get away from people. I'm like, I just found myself trying to get away from. I'm like, these some of these people's energy is too much. Like, I need to get the fuck away. I don't even want to be amongst them at all. And I just, I have to continue to check myself. Is that my ego or is that the energy? And I'm like, yeah, it's called energy parasites. It keeps them up at night. They can't sleep more than a couple hours, right? Like they really going through that shit. I contrast it with my life in the sense of the more I have ranked up, and again, this is why this is the second part of the video, how to rank up in the spirit world. Excuse me. Got to start the infamy drip, white hoodie to deflect the energy, and some shades. I never wore white. I don't even own a single piece of clothing other than a white tee. White has never really been my color. My color has always been black. I always been on gothic time, right? That's what New York did to me. New York made me appreciate the various shades of black. Because when I went to New York, I'm like, damn, everybody got the leather coat on, right? Like everybody is like blacked out. Not everybody, but it's like that. I saw that style more than any other style. I'm like, that's what I'm saying. I went to LA. I'm like, it was not LA, excuse me, New York. And I'm like, I never seen so many fresh people in one area in my life. I'm like, New York got to be the freshest place, other than I guess Atlanta. But Atlanta's energy is I don't like the energy of Atlanta, right? So that's why I prefer New York. Meaning, a lot of people don't like New Yorkers, but I'm like, all I see is some fresh motherfuckers. It's like my mind is just wired different. I'm like, they put me up on game without having to directly engage with me, right? I was just so impressed by the culture. I was just an observer, and it changed me. I'm not gonna lie, it changed me. Cause again, I was in New York for a whole 30 days. You already know I had documented it. Again, it was so I wasn't just in and out. I spent the whole month because I wanted to get that culture. You know, I'm like, I need to be here. I need to be amongst the people. I can't just go in and out. Right? Take these off. So I got some other ones. Now, what do I mean by how do you rank up in the spirit world? Right? Because what you're gonna realize is the more you get sensitive to these things, spirits are going to come amongst you. What do I mean? You're going to start interacting with actual deities. This is how you can tell what level you're on because you will begin to come into contact with actual deities. And what I mean by coming into contact with actual deities, meaning they're going to start coming to you in your dreams, or they're going to engage you in real life. You're going to run into their avatars. And you're like, wait a minute. And you're going to know. You're like, wait a minute. So it's not that they're telling you, well, I'm this or I'm that. It doesn't. It's not like that. It's your aura will say, like, wait, there's something strange here, right? All right, let me put on these, right? Meaning, when we connect, for example, when 93 synchronizes, we reflect a bigger energy, right? When we come together as a collective, that's when 93 forms, right? So anytime I say 93, it's never in reference to me, right? It's in reference to us. And the reason why the 93 is a reference to us, because I understand that I'm just so sensitive, I can pick up on the energy, the intention, or the consciousness that we emit. And that's why I say we have a supreme consciousness because through you, I'm able to access chambers that I otherwise would not have accessed just if it were just me, right? Meaning, I tell y'all all these stories about this happening, that happening, but ever since I've been on YouTube and I have been able to form these connections with you, it helped me to advance. I'm not going to deny that. So I'm not just this super smart person, right? What's up, X6? Salute. Much love and respect to you. Much love and respect to you. I appreciate you. This is what I'm saying. I was never a sunglasses guy, but I got to shield my energy now. I got to shield my energy. I don't even like people looking to my eyes. It's like it's exclusive now, right? As Dank Wizard was saying, right? When you are living amongst the infamy and when you are infamous, right? And this is where I'm getting to. Some people try to be famous, others become infamous. And that's why I was speaking about the gangsters. You can't walk outside, you can't catch a train, you can't be seen because somebody's going to be trying to take your life, right? So you have to live in an infamous way, right? So you can say navigate through the tunnels. You have to navigate through the underworld. You have to utilize magic just to shield your energy, meaning this becomes mandatory. And this is essentially where I'm going at with it. Magic is absolutely mandatory at this point. The more infamous you become, the darker you become, it becomes absolutely necessary to shield yourself with magic, right? And what I mean by shielding yourself with magic, this is truly what dark magic is or black magic is, because that is the magic of war, right? When we look back at what happened in the Haitian Revolution, right? The Haitian Revolution, as you know, they utilized voodoo to gain their liberation. It was absolutely necessary, but the magic is absolutely dangerous because we see what's going on in Haiti right now, right? So the same energy that freed Haiti in the Haitian Revolution is the same energy that got them trapped right now. It's that dark magic, right? If you do not contain and control the dark magic, it becomes evil and wicked. And that's when bad things begin to happen to you if it is unregulated. That's what makes black magic different than other forms of magic, because it must be contained. Because if you just let it do whatever it wants to do, it will begin to challenge you in ways that you didn't necessarily expect it to, right? Very strange and weird things begin to happen that you may not have predicted, meaning you have to sleep with one eye open. When you open up that Pandora's box, you must sleep with one eye open, because you must not watch. Not only are you watching other people's plays, you must watch your own plays. This is another reason why I'm taking my diet more seriously and I'm taking my energy more seriously. Again, hence, I'm like, I'm not even gonna allow people to look in my eyes, so on and so forth. Because just that engagement could cause a person to cast an evil eye on me. And we all know about the evil eye, right? People cast an evil eye on you. This is how you shield. You have to shield yourself from the evil eye, right? And I'm just beginning to realize how necessary this is. I'm like, okay, I can't be playing around with this, because all it takes is for a person to look into your eyes to cast a spell on you. That's just how easy magic is. So if you're dealing with, I'm not going to say if you're dealing with a high magician, you can be dealing with a low level magician, because there's many low level magicians out here, especially in fucking California. I noticed this shit. It'll be times when I'm in California and I may be sitting next to a person. All of a sudden, I start feeling tired and sleepy. And I keep seeing the person like looking at me from the corner of their eye and through their peripheral. See, what I do is I keep my sight straight forward and I utilize my peripheral, because when I utilize my peripheral, I realize that people begin to show themselves. Like, for example, if I'm looking straight forward and they're right next to me, like, especially if I got sunglasses on, so I may be looking through the peripheral, but they don't realize that I'm looking directly at them. So I can see their little shifty ass moves. That they think I'm looking straight ahead, but I'm actually looking right at them. And it's been so many times. So a certain person may sit next to me, and I begin to get sleepy and tired, and the person is looking at me. I'm like, oh, they're casting an evil eye on me right now. Not this is the result. They're casting an evil eye. They want me to fall asleep, go, and then they probably trying to go in my pockets or some shit like that. Why? These are low-level magicians. That's what makes California such a dangerous place. This is what truly makes California so dangerous. It ain't even that little gang shit and guns and you can get shot. No, it's these low-level magicians who cast an evil eye on prey, because they're predators, but they're energy predators. So they put parasites into your aura via the evil eye. And I've just noticed as I'm like, all these motherfuckers that appear to be crazy, they appear to be insane. These people are perfectly sane. They're just low level magicians. They're just really more advanced than people realize, right? That's what's really going on here. They're more advanced. They just play stupid. They play crazy. But this is truly a form of magic. But because we let our guard down, it's like, all right, this person, oh, they're no threat. This person, oh, they're no harm. We let our guard down. And when we let our guard down, because we think that these people are harmless, or what are these people? No, they actually are taking advantage and we don't even realize it. Because it ain't like a person's going to tell you, I'm casting a spell on you, I'm casting the evil eye on you. Of course, they're not going to tell you that. But you're going to be able to feel it in your aura. The more and more sensitive you become to energy. So every time I go to Cali, it's like I gotta be. This is what I mean. Like you have to. You gotta move different. Like my whole energy has to be different. It's the same thing when a person has to go to Chicago, for example. You have to immediately when you cross over that border and you enter into those dimensions, your whole aura has to change because you know that the rules are different here. For example, on the West Coast, the rules are different than the East Coast and the Midwest. The rules are different. That's why certain shit can happen over here that will not ever happen on the West Coast or happen in the Midwest and vice versa. So you have to always be aware of the rules that are at play as we call street politics. You have to always be aware of the street politics depending on where you are. Because it can be a full-fledged war going on and you will have no idea unless you know. You have to tap into the energy of the city. That's why I always talk about the energy of the city, the aura of the city, the spirit of the city. Everybody should try to get in contact with the spirit of the city. Every city has a guardian spirit. You have to connect with the guardian spirit of your city in order to navigate successfully because that's the only energy that's going to let you know, okay, it's time to get up out of here. Oh yeah, maybe you should be over there instead of over here. All right, so that's what's really going on. You begin to build a relationship with your city. Your city is alive. Your city is intelligent. So because your city is alive and your city is intelligent, it is absolutely our responsibility to build that relationship. The city is not going to do it on its own. It's not going to do it because we want it to happen. We must take the steps forward. And essentially, that's why I say this is how you rank up. So as you navigate through these cities, as you go from city to city, place to place, you are building relationship with the spirits of the city. And as you build relationships with the spirit of the city, then only then do the people begin to see you. What I mean by that is you have to have a certain level of energy to even work with spirits at all. What I mean by that is you have to contain, right? You have to be able to contain light in order to even be on the radar of the spirits. And I'm talking about the real spirits. The real spirits don't even see the average human beings. Why? See, everybody feel, not everybody, the 85%, they feel like, again, it's fucking devils attacking them. Spirits is either happy or sad what them doing. Like, they don't, because they don't understand how the spirit world works. The spirit world gives a single fuck about you if you don't have a certain level of energy. It's like you're not useful. So that's why people are so low level because they're not fucking useful. The only thing that they can be useful for is their own desires, emotions, and thoughts. They serve no purpose for the spirit of the city, the guardian spirits. They don't serve any purpose. Why? Because they're too caught up in their own world, their own happiness. They're too caught up in where their next dollar is coming from, where the next cigarette is coming from, where the next blunt is coming from, right? Where the next drink is coming from, right? They can't see past their own vices. So that makes them not useful to the spirit of the city. What I'm gonna do for you? You're gonna need another cigarette in 2 hours. You're gonna need another drink. You're gonna engage in vice. So it's like you can't do nothing with that type of person, right? Wearing protective crystals help. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And that's what I mean. Like we have to place this energy in motion, right? Because people are low-level magicians. It is what it is. It's so easy to cast an evil eye. So yes, that's why we have crystals. That's why we have tarot cards. That's why we have these seals, these symbols, right? What's up, King? Now in NY, you wouldn't be able to tell who's in the gang unless you know the spirit of the city. And you are absolutely correct, Immortal. You are absolutely correct. See, that's just, you see, that's why I love interacting with y'all because y'all know I'm not talking to people that don't know. You know, right? So all I'm doing is pointing out the obvious to those who know, right? I'm just giving you the West Coast perspective, right? So that we synchronize, so that we see the full picture here, right? I'm giving you that West Coast. You can get it from the East Coast. You get it from the Midwest. You get it from down south. We synchronize. So now we got the full picture as to, okay, I should operate like this on the East. I should operate like this on the West. I should operate like this in the Midwest. I should operate like this in the South so that I can remain protected and shielded and be able to be beneficial to the spirit of the city because they always have things that need to be done. There's always things that need to be done. Which crystals do you wear for such? Let's see. Let's see. What do I carry with me? Let me see. Let me see. I carry a little mojo bag, as you see. I carry my little mojo bag. Also my wallet. Let me see what's in the wallet. Let me give you all the exclusive take, right? I want the exclusive. Okay, what's in your wallet? What's in your mojo bag? Well, let's see. Let's see what's in here. And don't tell nobody I showed you. Right? Don't tell nobody I showed you. Let's see what's in here. The black crystals are highly protective. You are absolutely right, Immortal. You are absolutely right. Sigil was in your wallet. Yeah, you goddamn right as sigil was in my wallet. You motherfucking right as sigils in my wallet. Hell yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, oh shit. Just get me excited. It gets me excited. All right, so I have this. Right, here's one. Got this little sigil. This is Apollo. Apollo. It's called a Pati Penba. This is a Pati Penba, right? If we want to use the original tongue, this is the Pati Penba, right? I got that. I also got a swastika. Got a swastika in my wallet, right? Again, don't tell nobody. What else we got in here? Let me see. Let's see what's in this mojo bag. Yeah, I actually have a black crystal right here. Here's a black crystal, right? Which was a gift to me. So this is with me at all times. Well, when I leave the house. So right. And I also have this piece of moldavite, right? Moldavite. And of course, I have the coin from 1930, which you see has a swastika on there as well. I have that. See that swastika? And this is the back of it. So you see all those good luck charms. You got a rabbit's foot, an elephant, horseshoe, luck and charm, so on and so forth. And you got the all-seeing eye. And at the bottom of the coin, it says, this will protect you from the evil eye. Right? Tourmaline on me right now. So Harpy's Nest, salute to you. As you should, keep those crystals on you. Keep those crystals on you. Definitely keep those crystals on you. Also, Mudras. I'm supposed to make a video on Mudras, right? Fuck it, I'm gonna just talk about it now, right? Might as well talk about it now. And I'll just change the title. Well, I'm not gonna change. I'll add this to the title. Mudras, right? So I'll add this to the title later. So let's talk about it now, because I was asked to talk about Mudras anyway, right? So let me just go ahead and get that out the way, right? So for people who are not familiar with what mudras are the hand gestures, right? Okay. Oh, sorry about that. Now, every finger is connected to a planet: Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, Sun, Mercury. The moon is like that part of your hand right there. And then Mars is the middle part of the hand. So that little hump right here, that's the moon, right? The little right side, right under this, right? Let me see if I can do it this way. So for example, what mudras do, they alter the flow of your chi. That's what mudras. So when you're doing this, for example, you're connecting Jupiter with Venus. Jupiter and Venus connect when you do this. That's why you probably see this more than anyone else, right? Or any type of mudra. That's probably the most common one that you see. Now, that's why it brings balance, right? Meaning the reason why the thumb is Venus, because Venus represents balance, right? Venus is a number six, so that's a balance. So essentially, it don't matter what finger you're connecting, it's going to always be solidified through Venus. Now, what happens to me, I'll just say what happens to me personally, right? So when I connect Venus with Jupiter, this enhances my sensitivity. So when I do this, this enhances my sensitivity, right? This also enhances your pleasure. So if you want to become more sensitive and you want to enhance your pleasure, this is what this does. Because that's Jupiter. Jupiter is about pleasure, right? Sensitivity. So that's enhances. So for example, that's why, like, if your aura is chaotic, you do this, you will feel more balanced. Now, if you do Saturn and Venus, when I do that, when we think about Saturn, we think about endurance, we think about discipline, right? So Saturn slows down your chi. So your chi begins to flow a lot more slowly. So if you feel like your chi is flowing a little bit too fast or you want to slow it down, you activate Saturn, right? Now, what happens when you activate Venus and the Sun? When you do that, for me, it enhances my sense of self in the sense of I feel more of my own energy. Like everybody else's energy kind of begins to get blocked out. So you can feel more of your own energy. It helps you go inside yourself. It helps you to, activate your self power, right? Which is what the sun is supposed to do, right? But this is how you can tap into these energies in real time. What happens when you activate Mercury in the thumb? When I do this, it makes it easier for me to talk. It makes it easier for me to communicate, which is the energies of Mercury, right? So I do this anytime, I want to you could say if I'm writing lyrics, if I want to be a little bit more creative, I want my thoughts to flow a little bit more faster, right? Because Mercury is all about speed, right? So if you want to enhance your mental facilities, you activate Mercury and Venus. We activate Mars when we ball up our fists because when you ball up your fist, you see you're pressing the middle of your palm, right? So when we ball up our fist, especially when you put your thumb right here and you close it, when When you ball up your fist, that's why you be ready to punch out somebody because you're directly activating Mars. So that's why people ball their fists up because we channel Mars. So you're ready to punch. So that's why people ball their fists up because that's you channeling Mars because you're directly putting your hands directly right there. That's how you activate Mars. So you activate Mars when you do that. That's activating Mars. Then the moon again is that part of your hand, right, right there. Now, so you can basically rub on that part of your hand, to activate the moon. So you can that basically press like what is it? Acupressure, right? You can put a little pressure on your moon, right? And that helps you to tap into the more feminine. It makes you a little bit more artistic, right? Your energy becomes a little more artistic. It activates the feminine flow, right? Activates the feminine energy, right? So so that could be good for women or good for you to activate your creativity. Tap into just your meditation. If you really want to go deeper into meditation, activate that moon node, right? So that's what mudras do, right? And that's just straight up without all the fluff, without all the bullshit. We just take it straight to the planets. Each finger is connected to a planet. And again, Mars is the middle part, and that's the moon. The moon is that bottom part, that bottom right part, right under there, right? All that. So that's what mudras are for. They alter the flow of your chi. So if you feel your chi is ever not where you want it to be, all you have to do is activate a certain formula. And I say do trial and error, right? Learn how these mudras alter your chi. See what happens when you do this. Do it for about 5 minutes. And just pay attention to how your energy changes, how your thoughts change, how your emotions change. Like for example, when I tap into Saturn, my emotions like just they clear out. Because Saturn is not about emotion. Saturn is all about business, right? So this helps you to get into your business mind. And this also, helps your endurance, right? Again, Jupiter is about how to get into your high mind. Jupiter is the high magician. So you do this to get into your high mind. Again, that's why you see Buddha doing this. So this is how we access our higher chambers, right? Because that's just the energy of Jupiter as the high magician. And once again, when you activate the sun is all about creativity, but it's also about self. Know thyself, right? So you activate this mudra to get a better understanding of yourself and your energy and how your energy, flows and works, right? It's all about you. Then Mercury is about the communications, right? So the next time you're on the phone, the next time you're talking to somebody, just activate this mudra, do this. You ain't gotta do it like this. You can just do it, you can do it where people don't even see what you're doing. And you just see how your conversation will begin to flow a little bit more smoothly. Your words will come a little more easy for you because you're altering your chi. Everything is energy. So when you know how to properly alter your energy, then it just makes, everything go a lot more smoother because you just tap into the proper energy that you need to tap into based on what you're trying to accomplish, right? So you can pretty much any scenario can be solved by the proper equation. So again, when you need more Mars, again, just ball your fists up, right? Mars is about courage. You want more courage, you want more bravery, press that hand in, ball up that fist, ball your fist up. That's gonna enhance your bravery, your courage. Like, fuck it, let me just go ahead and do it. Fuck it. That's just that courage, right? And again, in the moon, when you want to tap into the energy of the high priestess, right? When you want to tap into the energy of what happens behind your eyes, when you want to have more visions, when you want to have more dreams, massage that moon, right? Massage that area. So that's what it is. When you know how to properly alter the flow of your chi, things go a lot more smoother. So now you will never be in a position where you will feel like your energy is not in the place you want it to be. Because if it's not, this is how you alter it. Also, when you go into half lotus position, so when you see people meditating and they're in half lotus position, that also alters the flow of your chi. That's why people do that. So when you're meditating and you get into half lotus position, People do that because it alters the flow of your chi. That's the difference between, just sitting with your legs open versus when your legs are locked. So when you lock your legs, you can say it locks your lower chakras, not the root chakra. The chakras. There's chakras be below the root chakra. You can say you got seven chakras above the crown, and you also have seven chakras below the root. So when you lock your legs, you're locking down, you can say, the lower energies. So for example, if you feel like you're overly horny, you feel like that you're too earthy, you're too grounded, like there's just too much earthly energy going on. That's why you get into half lotus position. So when you get into half lotus position, then you hit it with a mutra as well. Then that will help you to activate the heightened level of spirituality. So that's how you completely transmute the energy from low level to high level. So this is how we do these things without you having to be an advanced master, without you having to, just be doing this for years and years. Once we understand the science of, but that's why they don't never explain these things to us directly. They always got to put all this fluff on top of it, making you seem like you got to be doing this shit for years. You got to be a master. You got to be. They just take you in circles. I'm just giving to you straight and direct, right? So now, okay, so it's really just a formula to be tapped into and for you to experiment with, for you to see for yourself. And that's just all yoga, all the yoga postures, all of yoga, all that's about altering your chi. So whatever your favorite yoga position is or your favorite yoga posture, there's a reason for it because it's helping your chi to move in a certain way. So I would say practice your yoga poses, practice your yoga postures, and see exactly how it affects your consciousness. It's the same thing with the sigils. When you are working with different sigils, just hold it in the palm of your hand. For example, whenever I want to know what a sigil does, I just hold it in the palm of my hand. I'm like, what does this spirit do? Okay, that's the seal, that's the aura. Or that's the seal, that's the symbol. Okay, I'm gonna create the symbol and I'll put it in the palm of my hand. I'll close my hand and I just see like how does it alter? Are my thoughts gonna change? Are my emotions gonna change? Are my desires gonna change? What will be the result? So you just have to, just sit back and just watch yourself, just observe yourself. And then you will see exactly how these energies work. It's as simple as that, right? And again, it's just without all the fluff, without all the bullshit. Whenever you want to know what something does, you can also do this with numbers. Write a number, put it in the palm of your hand. Okay, what does this number do for me? What does this number do for me? What does this number do for me? Because we have to relate it back to ourselves. This is the purpose. This is the goal. We want to be able to relate the energy back to us so that it doesn't just be external. We don't want to keep things external. That's the number one. That's that energy. That energy is outside of me. No, all of these energies alter your aura. It alters the flow of your chi. You just want to know exactly what it does. Okay, what does the number seven do for me? Because for example, if you know what the number seven does to your chi, then you will better understand why you react the way you react when you are under a seven vibration. For example, if you walk into somebody's house and their house vibration is a seven, then you will better understand why you either feel like talking, why you just want to chill out. Basically, whatever the seven vibration, however it influences you, you will have a better understanding why it does that because you know exactly what the seven does to your aura. You already know what it does to your chi. So you're like, okay, I see, because this, depending on what house vibration I'm in, my chi is going to be altered, which already happens anyway. Depending on your house vibration, your chi is already being altered just without us knowing. So if you live in a one vibration, your chi is altered in that way. If you live in a nine vibration, your chi is altered in a certain way. That's when you go from household to household, from the gas station to the job, to the supermarket, to the mall. All this is numerology. All this is influencing your aura. It's influencing your chi in a different way. So yes, you're the same person, but your chi is always being influenced by the numerology. So the better you understand what the numerology does for you personally, what the seals do for you personally, what the mudras do for you personally, now you understand, oh, I see why I react this way when I'm in this type of environment. Also, I know why I react when I'm around this type of person. Oh, I see why I'm this way around Bob. I see why I'm this way when I'm around Jasmine. Because everybody's name breaks down to a number. So you understand why Bob pisses me off, or why Jasmine makes me feel good. It's numerology. We thinking, okay, I just get along with this person. It's numerology first and foremost because remember, all planets don't get along. Some planets are harmonious, some planets are not. When some planets come together, chaos ensues. But when other planets come together, it creates paradise. So that's also with people. So we be thinking like, oh, I just like that person's energy. There's a reason why you like that person's energy because it's based on your energy. It's based on your numerology. Okay, when your numerology comes into contact with their numerology, it's harmony because again, certain planets are already harmonious, versus other planets is going to be chaos. But even that can be controlled because even if you know like okay, when I'm amongst these type of people, the energy is volatile. That's not necessarily a bad thing. You just have to know like okay, don't expect peace in this particular situation. It's not that it's bad, just don't expect peace. It's going to be very volatile, which can be constructive if you keep that in mind. Because that's all people really got to do is keep in mind that some energies are volatile and some energies create paradise. So when you understand that, when you know that ahead of time, you can keep yourself under control. You can choose the right mantras. You can choose the right mantras, seals, sigils. You know exactly how to formulate your master plan as to how to deal with a particular situation. It all comes down to formulas. It all comes down to mathematics. That's why we can't look at anything or take anything on face value because it's never what you think it is. We just be thinking certain people are assholes. It's not that certain people are assholes. They just an asshole in your presence because of your energy. But that's not, again, necessarily a bad thing. That's just how certain planets get along and certain planets don't. And even if they don't, that doesn't mean that y'all can't accomplish anything. You just know that whatever is going to come through this accomplishment is going to be volatile. And especially sexually, that's not a bad thing at all, right? So let's just say you are interacting with a person that's volatile. Sexually, that may be great. That would just result in fucking a wild, spontaneous sexual this escapade. So it's not always negative. But like, okay, that person is good in bed. But if I try to be in a relationship with this person, all hell's break loose. So you just gotta know how to position the pieces on your chessboard. That's all you gotta do. You just have to know how to properly position the pieces on your chessboard. This person serves this purpose. That person serves this purpose. As long as you know how to compartmentalize energies, people, seals, sigils, that's what it's all about. As long as you understand how these formulas work, you should be able to navigate life, in a way that it doesn't harm your inner peace. Right? So just like I was talking about earlier, about, feeling other people's auras, feeling other people's energies. I can take it personal, but it's not personal, it's energy. So again, long as you got your mojo bag full of goodies, you got your sigils in your wallet and your purse. Some people use wallpapers, right? As you see, my wallpapers are always black, right? I always have my wallpapers black. I don't even be having images like that, so I keep it black. Black is the energy of protection, right? Also purple. So black and purple, connects with Saturn. Saturn is about protection, so that also goes into colors. This color magic. Certain colors will have an influence, right? Roots and oils as well. This goes for everything. I'm just giving certain examples, but yes, this applies to everything. Everything is a formula. This is what witchcraft is. This is just you understanding the formulas of the earth. So Everything is an equation. This is why we must think mathematically, right? Everything is an equation, right? So even me, just like this, I'm like, okay, certain days I should wear this one. Certain days I should wear that one. Certain days I should wear these other sunglasses. It should be based on the day because every day is a different planetary energy, right? Today is Thursday. Thursday is the energy of Jupiter, right? So today's theme will be based around Jupiter. So not only should you know, well, what is my Jupiter in my personal chart? Also, what's going on with Jupiter transit wise? Also, I should use this mutra for today because I'm going to tap into Jupiter, right? Exact all things correspond. Yes, that is the law of correspondence, which is the second universal law. So all I'm doing is explaining the second universal law. So you're absolutely right. This is all about correspondences. As long as you're able to correlate everything with a planetary energy, you're good to go. Correlate the numbers to the planets, the roots, the oils, the colors, everything can be brought back to the planets. So when you're able to make those proper correlations, it will benefit you, right? So yeah, it's just one big math equation, one big puzzle, one big riddle. So we spend our lives figuring these things out. And this is what makes us occultists because we're figuring out the law of correspondence and how one thing corresponds to another and how you can use that to your advantage. Right? So that's what we're doing, you know? That's what we do here. So I was glad y'all asked those questions and I just went on ahead and showed y'all. So yeah. So y'all know that this is what I'm actually doing in real time. I'm not just talking about it. I carry this mojo bag. Of course, I be having my wallet. You see these sigils, carrying all type of stuff, right? So I keep my tools and I'm constantly adding more tools to the arsenal as well, right? So I'm constantly adding more tools. I'm constantly adding more correspondences because this is just what we do here, right? And the more and more I've been doing this, the more and more I've been able to go deeper into rank, rank up, right? When you're doing these things, this is how you gain light. The law of correspondence help you to gain light. And the more and more light that you gain, the clearer you become to the spirits. And when you become clear to the spirits, then you can interact with the spirits. And the more you interact with the spirits, the more you begin to see how that influences the people. The people are influenced by the spirits. So if you got the respect of the spirits, you will have the respect of the people because the people follow the spirit. The spirit don't follow the people follow the spirit. So if you have the spirit's respect, then you will have the people's respect. So it's never even about the people. It's always about the spirit. Spirit controls people. So if you are in control of your own spirit first and foremost, and your own aura first and foremost, and you understand what happens when you interact with certain type of energies and certain type of auras, whether positive or negative. For example, in certain cities, so just like I say, like I didn't necessarily have the best time when I was in Atlanta, but I had a great time in New York. But that's based on my own energy because somebody else may go to Atlanta and love the fuck out of it and never want to leave. And some other people may go to New York and hate New York. So you have to know what energies are volatile and what energies are more subtle. Doesn't make one right, it doesn't make another one wrong. You just have to like, okay, this energy is more volatile. I need to have a certain type of equation going on. I need to have certain type of crystals. I need to have certain type of smells, auras, roots, oils. I need to have certain type of colors. So that even if I'm in a volatile energy, I don't get trapped into the madness. I can still benefit. I just know the energy is volatile. It's going to be rough, but I can still make it happen, right? What about DC? What I learned about DC is the guardian spirit of DC is Pamba Gira, right? When I was in DC, I'm like, oh, this is the energy of Pamba Gira. Because like the women were very forward. They were very assertive. What I mean by that is, it's like women were just coming up to me like, "Yo, let me use your phone. I need to make a phone call." They didn't ask. They didn't ask, hey, can I use a phone? They're like, no, like, yeah, Leo, I need your phone. I'm like, oh shit, take it. And she was like, oh shit. Like, these women are very assertive, so it's a different type of breed. I'm like, okay, like, oh, you got the spirit of Palmagira on you. I was like, okay, so just being there and interacting with the people, I'm like, oh yeah, I saw Palmagira, right? So it's a very, like even DC, like I understand why it's called the District of Columbia. See, I wasn't even thinking about it until I went there. I'm like, oh, Washington, D.C. is different than Washington because, Washington is on the West Coast. But when you go to Washington, D.C., when you go to the District of Columbia, I'm like, oh, shit, this is really the District of Columbia. I feel like I'm in Columbia right now in fucking Washington, D.C. I feel like I was in Columbia. I'm like, oh, shit, this is really Columbia. This is like little Columbia, right? So I like D.C. The energy of DC was it's a lot of energy, especially when you go downtown. All that masonry, it's nothing like that. It's nothing like DC. I'm not gonna lie, like that. I didn't even realize it was like so much forest in DC. I'm thinking it was just the White House and all these buildings. I didn't realize it was like a whole forest and atmosphere. I'm like, yo, DC was nothing like I thought it was based on looking at movies and stuff. I'm like, this is a whole nother energy. Then when I went to the hood, I'm like, oh shit, this is how the hoods are. Like even the trains, it's like dark as fuck. I'm like, oh, what the? Like these shades explain DC, right? I'm like, damn, I'm on a train and I feel like I'm in Gotham City around this bitch. Like the energy is just like, I guess they just like the lights like kind of dimmed. It's like everywhere I was going, like the lights are just kind of dim. They don't have the lights just shining bright. I'm like, okay, it's nice. So I can get with that. That's that East Coast, right? It's cold as fuck too. Like the wind in DC is ridiculous. That's what I will say. When I was downtown, like by the Washington Monument, I was so fucking cold. I was so cold. I'm like this is abnormal. I guess I had been on the West Coast for too long. I'm like the winds is ridiculous. That's also Dallas. When I went to Dallas, it's another place where the winds is just ridiculous. I'm like, that shit is, these winds are ridiculous, right? But overall, I like DC like I like New York. So it's a lot of cities that I actually enjoy. Then there's other cities I'm like, I'm never coming back here. I'm like, nah, like this ain't the place for me. But I can resonate with the East Coast. That's why I had to learn the West Coast. I had to learn to appreciate the West Coast. Like when I go to the East, I feel at home. I'm like, these people are like me. The West, it took me a while. I had to adapt to the West and learn how to navigate the West. For somebody else, it may be different, right? It's people that love the West, but they don't really fuck with the East like that, right? So that's everybody's gonna have places that they favor and places that they don't really resonate with, right? But again, as long as you are doing your spiritual work and you're ranking up, building up your light, none of that really matters. Like even now, like I go back to Atlanta now because I just know better now. So I'm not even taking any of that personally, right? I could still enjoy myself in Atlanta, and I did enjoy myself in Atlanta. It was just the people had just thrown me off. I'm like the people just seemed mean, especially the black people. I almost got ran over and shit. I'm like, man, like motherfuckers is just they just doing whatever they want out here, right? So again. I'm not even. That's just how the people are though. The AT aliens, right? They just AT aliens. They just doing their own thing. So just because it wasn't welcoming to me, you know what I mean. The next person may love that energy, right? I'm 66, living, and I'm a native of DC. DC hood most of my life. Yeah, I fuck with DC. Shout out to DC. Shout out to the District of Columbia. Right? What's up, Harpy's Nest? What's up, Siberia? Shout out to Siberia. Shout out to DC. I love DC. I had a great time in DC. Very cold, but I had a great time, especially in the hoods. Even the hoods. I didn't feel unsafe. Like, I didn't, you know what I mean? Like it was great. It was great. It definitely a place that I will come back to. I didn't see everything. Like DC is a mystery, so it's one big mystery. It's the rising of Sirius. I had to do my history. It's a lot of occult history in DC. I got to decode that, right? I got to decode DC. It's a lot of occult mystery, a lot of occult energy in DC. Again, the rising of Sirius is the way it was built. That big ass owl, it's a big ass owl. The way the city was designed, by Benjamin Banneker, the masonry, like you gotta understand masonry to truly even appreciate DC. I'm like, yo, what? I'm like, this is an astrology city, just like Vegas. DC is like an astrology city. If you really look at the how it's laid out and how the streets, how you navigate the streets. I was meeting up with people in DC. They're like, yo, they wasn't even comfortable really driving the streets. Like the way that the shit is structured there's no other city like that. I say that there's no other city structured like DC. There's no other city. That's specific to DC. That is a unique thing, and even I haven't cracked that code just yet. So much love and respect to DC. Y'all have your own energy, and I have complete. It just I gained a respect when I went there, and it definitely taught me like, yo, you gotta level up. Right? It told me, yeah, you gotta level up. Like, I had to get used to the cold. I had to get used to the people. But again, like that, the people were cool though. The people were cool. I have no problem with the people. Right? What spirit rules Detroit? Well, man, why you gotta ask that? Why you gotta ask that? All right, I'll tell you though, the spirit of Detroit is ruled by the Barons. In voodoo, you have the Barons, right? Baron Somni, you have Baron Nebo, right? You have Baron Criminal. Of course, you have, Baron Lacroix, right? Detroit is ruled by the Barons, right? The Barons in voodoo, right? So if you want to tap into Detroit, and because you live there, shout out to you, man. I haven't been there in a long time, but that's my hometown. That's gonna always be my hometown, right? That's why I'm Gothic, right? So I still got my Detroit roots. That's never gonna change, right? I still got family. Most of my family is still in Detroit. That's just how deep it is. Most majority of my family is still in Detroit. It's only a couple of us out here in the West. It's only a handful of us out here in the West, right? Raised here, still here. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to the homie. Shout out to the homie. Yeah, I see why we connect, right? Shout out to the homie, man. Shout out to the D. Shout out to the D, right? You know what I mean? Very, very beautiful place, Very, very beautiful place. Even though I don't even remember much of it. I don't remember much of it. I haven't been back. Like I moved away in like 2009, right? Like right after, 2008 when everything started going downhill. It was like right after Obama became president. I was up out of there, right? So I don't really know the modern day Detroit. You know what I mean? It's like the Detroit that I remember no longer exists, right? So I couldn't tell you anything about modern Detroit, but I do remember the energy, right? And it's the energy of death, right? I remember smelling dead bodies in the air just going to school. Like it was hard like that. That's one of the hardest cities in America. That is one of the hardest cities in America. I'm like, that is just crazy shit. I'm like, damn. I'm like, what the fuck is that? I'm smelling dead flesh just going to school as a kid. We gotta walk to school, smelling dead flesh. I'm like, all right. That's it. Just prepared me for the West Coast. So I see why I had to go from Detroit to the West Coast. Right? It's different ever since downtown started popping, and that's good. That's good, cause it was a war zone when I was there. It was a fucking war zone, right? You know what I mean? All I remember is madness. All I remember is madness, right? Meaning, yeah, like my memories of Detroit, all I remember is madness, right? I done seen people get shot, arms getting shot off, right? I done seen people get stabbed, fucking arms hanging. Like it's like what the hell? All is that shit is crazy. I don't like my memories. The best memories of Detroit, of course, is my grandparents. When I think about Detroit, I think about my great grandparents and everything they did for me, right? I think about my grandparents and everything they did for me, my great grandparents, right? So I always have a love. I always think about them, right? They are a huge factor. That's where I became spiritual. I became spiritual in their home. They opened up their home to me. I was able to read my first astrology books and all that. So they are the reason why I'm spiritual. And basically just being in Detroit. Detroit is the reason why I'm spiritual. Detroit opened up the gate. That's when I began to study meditation. I learned about meditation. I learned about the law of attraction. I learned about the secret. I learned about all these things, the power of the subconscious mind. I learned all that in Detroit, right? So that's how I even got to the West Coast. So I had to get all that on cap, start utilizing my mind, and that's how I even got to the West Coast, right? Yeah, it was pretty bad and still can be at the time. Just got to stay stealthy around certain people in areas. Oh, that's funny. Like, yeah, Detroit is no joke, you know. So I'm not gonna lie, it's no joke. But the people are beautiful. It's the same thing with Chicago to me. It's no joke, but the people are beautiful, you know. So even when you amongst the gangs, even when you amongst those killers, it's like, see, that's what you gotta learn when you in certain cities, you know. You realize that even killers have a heart. Even people that's doing dirt have a heart. They look out for you and they may not even know you. So it's like it's different. It's different. You know what I mean? Like you got the luxury of being around certain type of people that you otherwise wouldn't be around, right? So that's what I learned. I'm like, yeah, because a lot of people in my family was doing crazy shit. A lot of people in my family was doing crazy shit. St. Louis was like that, taught me that that's that Midwest energy. The whole Midwest is like that. Detroit, Chicago, what is it, Kansas, Memphis. The whole Midwest got that gothic energy. The whole Midwest is just. I don't even want to shake my head like it's bad because if you from there, then it's like it's normal to you, right? It's normal to you, right? We normalize that shit. So it hit us different, right? So to everybody else, again, like for example, like Chicago, a lot of people wouldn't even go to Chicago because of, the all the gang warfare, or St. Louis, or Detroit, or Memphis, because you. But to us, it's like this is where we from. So it hit us different. It hit us different. So that we got a different type of heart, right? So so yeah, now I'm going back in memory lanes. The people are beautiful. The people are beautiful. I even met somebody because I've been to St. Louis, and I met somebody. I was traveling through St. Louis, and I met somebody who was cool as fuck. When I was traveling through, I'm like, "Where you from?" He like, "I'm from St. Louis." He like, "Come visit when you can." I was even in LA. When I was in LA, I met somebody from St. Louis. This shit was crazy. And he was talking about the law of attraction. Like, yo, I just read the law of attraction. And like, damn, like here I am. Like I'm here with you. Like I literally just. So I'm like, so that's what I mean. Like the people are so beautiful though. That's what the people are so beautiful. We come from tough ass backgrounds, but the people are beautiful. So everybody I done met from the Midwest, very beautiful people. Very beautiful people, right? So that's why every energy has its pros and its cons. Every energy has its pros and its cons. That's why it's important for us to navigate. It's important for us to navigate so that we can understand the different auras, the different cities, the different guardians, the different spirits, and this is what helps us to rank up. This is what makes us universal so that we know how to navigate the terrain, right? Right, you gotta know where to go, where not to go. You gotta know what to do. You gotta know what not to do. It's like there's a lot to know from city to city, state to state. Again, the rules change from city to city, state to state, right? So you got to know these things. So that's why it's good to get around. So I'm honored and I'm blessed that I was able to go across country and be able to experience these things face to face. And that's the only reason I know because I done been all over this bitch, right? What's up, Goddess Incarnate? What's the guardian city of? Oh man, what's the guard? All right, what's the guardian? The guardian spirit of Vegas. Well, since you asked, in my opinion, in my opinion, well, for one, Vegas is an astrology city, right? That's why it's called Sin City, right? We know Sin is a moon god, a Sumerian moon god, right? Sin City. Sin, being a moon god, is also the god of astrology, which is why they, again, like for those who don't know, there's a lot of streets in Vegas named after constellations. So that's why I'm saying this, right? So if you ever been in Vegas and you look at the name of these streets, they're named after constellations. So the foundations of this city was based on astrologers because they literally named a lot of the streets after constellations. So that tell you right there that they were heavy on astrology and astronomy, astrology and astronomy. So even though I say it's an astrology city, I can also say it's an astronomy city as well, right? Yeah, Sirius, Polaris. It's more than that. It's more than that. It's a lot of constellations, right? And they got real they got their own creative names. Like I used to live on a street called Bursting Sun, right? For example, so they got streets like that as well. So they're named after constellations, and it's like Bursting Sun. Another one was called? It was like Lunar something. It was one of them was Bursting Sun, and another one was Lunar something. So I'm like, I was already impressed. I'm like, damn, they got these streets are named after constellations, and they just got these unique astrological names. I'm like, I was very impressed. But this is where I became an astrologer. Imagine that. I wasn't an astrologer when I was in LA. Like I studied astrology, but I wasn't an astrologer. I didn't become an astrologer until I got to Sin City. Sin City made me the astrologer I am. So when you ask me who's a guardian of the city, there's definitely Sin. This is definitely Sin's city because it made me an astrologer. So me using my own personal experience, this is when I began to care about this, right? So when I'm looking at the environment, even like all the people that come here, right? Like certain people, are drawn to certain hotels. When you go to the strip, you got all these hotels, right? And as you navigate through these hotels on the Las Vegas Strip, you realize that certain people are drawn to certain hotels. Like a certain type of person will be drawn to a certain type of hotel, and it's based on their energy. Like for example, like I spent so much time. I would go from hotel to hotel to hotel because I wanted to see, for myself. I'm like, damn, every time I go to a different hotel, it's a whole different energy. It's a whole different type of person that's here. It's like the whole world in miniature form. That's what you really get from Vegas. It's like the whole world in miniature form. You can pick where you want to go. Yeah, you're right. I know that from experience. Again, this is all experience, right? All we talking about is experience, right? Exactly. Exactly. All we can talk about is experience, right? So I spent a lot of time in the Las Vegas streets, right? I spent a lot of time in these streets, right? I spent a lot of time in these streets. A lot of time in these streets, right? So yeah, I know this by sleeping in these streets, waking up in these streets, being in homes, being homeless. Yeah, so I know about these streets very intimately. I know these desert lands very intimately. It's a miniature, the world in the miniature form. So basically, whenever if you want to connect with any part of the world, it's just about going to a certain location here. So whatever, like if you want to connect with the Far East, there's a certain hotel you can go to connect with the Far East. You want to connect with Europe, it's a certain hotel for that. You want to connect with anywhere you want to connect with, you just got to go to a certain location and put down those rituals, put down that magic, right? What compelled you to move to the West Coast? Why did you leave living in LA? Did your family come there after you? My family never been to LA. My family only been to Las Vegas, right? So I was only one of my family that actually went all the way to LA. So when my family came to the West Coast, they came to Las Vegas, right? So I'm the only one in my family that actually went all the way to Los Angeles. The reason why I moved away from Los Angeles is it was nothing more for me to do there. I had spent so much time there. I was there for years. right? So I was in LA for years. I did everything you can do there. It was just time for me to evolve into a magician. It was time for me to be refined. Las Vegas made me more refined, right? I came to the West Coast. The West Coast showed me my power, my number five, right? The West Coast showed me the power. Well, LA showed me my power. I became spiritual in LA. LA laid the foundation, right? I became a five percenter in LA, right? I explored many different forms of Islam in LA, right? So LA is the foundation, my spiritual foundation, right? Meaning that's when I actually got out into the streets and began to experiment. That's when I got out of the books and I began to hit the streets. But my power was not refined. I had the power, I knew what my power was, but it needed to be refined. So I had to come to the desert to refine myself. And that's when I started the YouTube. See, when I was in LA, I didn't have the YouTube, right? Because I was just exploring myself. So it wasn't until I came out here to Vegas that I had to refine myself enough to even present myself to YouTube. So it took a whole journey for me to even present myself here, right? So that's why I had to come to Las Vegas. I had to refine myself. I had to work on my finesse. Everything I was talking about in the beginning of the video, right? I had to work on my finesse. I'm like, yeah, I got the power. Like many people got the power, but I'm like, I need more finesse. I need that astrology, right? I need that numerology. I need that 93. I became 93 here. I wasn't 93 in LA. I became 93 in Las Vegas. So everything that y'all see now is a result of Las Vegas. So just to make that clear, everything that y'all see now, the astrologer, the numerologist, the occultist, the kabbalist, all this stuff that y'all see, the spiritualist, all this is because of Las Vegas. So I was able to compile everything that I mastered in Detroit, that I mastered in Los Angeles, and compile it and to make it something bigger here. Because everything was still separate. Okay, but some things were over there, some things was over there. I was able to compile everything in Las Vegas. All right. What led y'all to Vegas? You encourage your family to join you in Vegas? No, they came on their own. That's the crazy part. No, it didn't have nothing to do with me. My family came over here on their own accord. It didn't have nothing to do with me, right? Because again, I was in Los Angeles. So while I was in Los Angeles, they came to Las Vegas first. So they were here in Las Vegas before I was even in Las Vegas. But I had been coming to Las Vegas since like 2009, right? So I've been familiar and on these lands since 2009. My first time coming to Las Vegas was 2009, right? So I've been coming here for a long time before I moved here. But my family came on their own accord. They came by themselves, you know. I guess Detroit was just breaking apart. So they needed somewhere else to be. Like, so if you understand the history of Detroit, Detroit hit a major slump in like 2008. It hit a major slump. So a lot of people were moving out, right? I don't even think it's a million people in Detroit now. It used to be over a million people. Like, so like half of the city just got exiled, right? Half of the city moved elsewhere. So they were a part of that. So it wasn't really me. It wasn't really me. They came on their own accord. Because if it was me, they would have came to Los Angeles. But then they came to Las Vegas on their own with their own ideas. It didn't have nothing to do with me, right? So we didn't meet up till later on. So I didn't meet up with my family until years later. Because again, I was still living in Los Angeles. So I didn't just come to Las Vegas because they came to Las Vegas. I was still in LA for years. So I didn't meet back up with my family till years after they had already been out here. Right. So that was two separate occasions, right? We came in two different time periods, right? So I guess I came in like 2009. And I guess they may have came in like 2010, maybe. I don't even know when they exactly came, right? We about 700K, yeah. So that's what I mean. Like half of the city had left. It was like 500K, and yeah, now 2023 it's at 700K, but at one time it was at 500K, right? But at one time it was over a million people, right? So a lot of people, like half of the city left. because it was just like a wasteland at one point. And now they're starting to build it back up. Like Dank was saying, downtown is popping now. So they getting back to it now, right? So I'm sure that they crossed over the threshold to be a million people again. But at one time, like half of the city had left. Again about like 2008, 2009, 2010. So it was a mass exodus, right? So a lot of people left and never came back. Some people left, came back, and yeah, as you were saying, now it's gentrified, right? So a lot of foreigners are coming in, a lot of different types of people. So it's time doing what time does best, right? So unless y'all have any more questions, we can go ahead and check out. I'm glad we was able to have this conversation and I was able to be helpful in some fashion, right? That's what it's all about. I just come on here, to just use my personal experience to be helpful to the best of my ability so that we can better understand these dynamics. Yeah, Motown, the car industry was big. Also the music industry, yeah. Like Motown, the music was popping. Yeah, Motown was popping. That's like my great grandparents were a part of that Motown. Like my great grandparents, they worked in the factories. So they came in that era because my originally my family was from the South, right? I think Montgomery. My great grandparents are from Montgomery, Alabama. So you can say that's my true origin. So they came from the South and they navigated to Detroit, to join the car industry, right? And they became very successful in that. That's how they gained their wealth, right? So they lived a very very nice life. My great grandfather, he had rank, and I believe it was Chrysler. So he was a decision maker in Chrysler to the point where when he retired, they threw him a fucking party. So he had a whole retirement party. Like that's just how much they respected him, right? So he was definitely a decision maker, at that time. So I definitely benefited from that. Have you been to AL? I'm not sure what AL is. AL. Uh, I'm not. What is AL? Hold on. That doesn't ring a bell. I don't even know what AL is. Hold on. Oh shit! Look, you can see the computer. You see the computer through the lens. What is AL? I'm not sure what AL is. Let me change the song. Alabama. Okay, Alabama. Okay, I see what you. So the initials is AL. See, I'm not tuned in. I'm not tuned in enough. But have I been to Alabama? I don't think so. I don't think I've been to Alabama. I don't think so. I may have, but it wasn't. I didn't spend a lot of time there. If I did, it's like in some places I've been, but I didn't spend a lot of time. Like I've been to Virginia, been D.C. Like I haven't been to Florida. Of course, I've been to Atlanta. Texas. Been all throughout Texas except Houston. So it's a lot of places I've been, but Alabama, there's a couple places that I haven't touched. Again, I haven't touched Florida yet. Haven't touched Alabama. Haven't touched the Carolinas yet. Okay. So it's a couple little places that I haven't touched yet. Like I touched Arizona, New Mexico. Yeah, it's not that many places. Like I haven't been to Montana. I haven't been to Washington. I haven't been to Oregon. Like the upper West Coast. I haven't been there yet. Like Idaho, I haven't been to Idaho. Iowa, Idaho, Iowa. And I think I've been everywhere else. Like I've been to Philadelphia, of course. I've been to New York. Again, and I haven't been in the Carolinas yet. So I guess it's maybe about Alaska. No, not Alaska. So it may be about 10 to 12 states I haven't touched. But all the other ones, and I haven't been to Hawaii, because if you want to consider Hawaii. So I didn't, it's about, yeah, about 10, 12 states I haven't been. So I haven't completed the map yet. I have not completed the map yet. But majority of the states I've been to majority of the states, but it's a couple little states I haven't been yet, right? So my map is not complete. Let me see if I can find something else. Give me 1 second here. I just want to change the song here. All right, let me see. Hold on. Let me see what I can play. Oh, yeah, yeah, I'm supposed to be looking at this. Okay, here we go. Okay. But we'll get there, though. All right. Alaska would be cool to visit. Yeah, we're going to get there. I'm going to definitely complete the map, right? We're going to complete the map. You know, and hopefully I'll be able to bring y'all along with me as well. So just give me a little time. You know, I had to master one stage at a time, you know. Hold on. You done switch the shades like 3, 4 times. Man, you funny. I just be picking these bitches up now. I'm just taking it serious. I'm like, man, I gotta, you got a pair for each day. Yeah, I'm just getting started. I'm gonna have some more. You know, I just like to keep y'all entertained. You know, give y'all a little splash. Give y'all a little splash. I got more. Let me see. Hold on. Hold on. Give me a second. Let me see what I can do. Hold on. Let's see what I can do. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. So yeah, got these bitches. Yeah, I'm gonna build up a whole arsenal. I'm gonna build up a whole arsenal for them. You know, I'm gonna build up a whole arsenal for them. You know, I just, you know, it's a little inspiration. You know, we get a little creative. But if I want to be normal, you know, I just put these bitches on, right? Yeah. Oh shit, this look funny. Oh shit, this looks funny. Hold on, let's see. I'm trying to. Oh, it's giving me a hard time. Hold on, I'm trying to drag this over. Hold on, this is giving me a hard time here. There we go. Okay. Do you work with Metatron? I have worked with Metatron before. Yes, I have worked with Metatron. I have worked with Metatron. Let me see. Let me see if I got any notes on Metatron. Let's see. Yeah, yeah, I have worked with Metatron. Right? So you see, I got the notes. I have Metatron on my notes. So the last time I worked with Metatron was December 18th, 2021. That's the last time I worked with Metatron in 2021. Let's see. And they gave me a lot of dreams. I'm like, oh shit, dream of this. Dream, 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 dream. So apparently Metatron activates your dreams because I'm looking at my own notes with Metatron. I got dream, 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 dream. So apparently Metatron activates your dreams because that's what my notes say. I recorded a bunch of dreams when I was working with Metatron. So I guess that's the dream god. Metatron is a dream god, according to me. All right, let me see. How do you use color magic? When it comes to color magic, the easiest way to put it is just connecting the colors to planets. It's an easy way to do it, right? Like for example, blue is Jupiter, right? Blue is Jupiter. Black slash purple is Saturn. Of course, you could say red is Mars. You can also say yellow is Mars, right? So on and so forth. So once you know what planet is connected to what color, then you pretty much know the attributes of that particular color because they're going to match the attributes of the planet, right? So color magic is just knowing what planet that you're activating when you are utilizing the colors, right? So if I'm utilizing blue, I'm tapping into the energy of Jupiter, the energy of high magic. So if I want to activate my high magic or I want to be the high magician, I'm going to tap into Jupiter. If I feel like I need protection, I'm going to tap into Saturn, which is a black or purple. If I need more energy, I'm going to utilize that red or that yellow, right? So on and so forth, right? So color magic is just knowing the planet connected to the color and you putting together combinations, right? So you may have on black pants and a blue shirt. So black and blue, Jupiter and Saturn. What happens when Jupiter and Saturn connect? Again, Saturn is protection. Then Jupiter is all about expansion, right? So the expansion of protection. So Jupiter will help expand the protection that Saturn is already giving you. Because you must understand when you are utilizing the planets, the heaviest planet has the greatest influence. So because Saturn is a heavier planet than Jupiter, that's why Jupiter will expand the protection of Saturn because a heavy planet will take over the majority of the energy. So the planet that is not as heavy will be, you could say, acting to aid the planet that is the heaviest, right? So you see, it's just a formula. So you take the heaviest planet is going to influence the lighter planet. So the lighter planet will give energy to the heavier planet. So when you are mixing and matching your colors, you just are keeping in mind what the heavy energy is and what the lighter energy is, right? So you become very strategic depending on how you navigate your colors, right? So you go by the heaviest planet. So that basically becomes your main energy. Your main energy is the heaviest planet. That's why people wear blue jeans. Why do people wear blue jeans? Because as we said, blue is Jupiter. Jupiter is a heavy planet. It's not as heavy as Saturn, but it is a pretty heavy planet. If you compare it to like Mars or Venus, or the moon, something like that. So if you're wearing blue, that would be unless you're wearing black. So if you're wearing blue, that means Jupiter would be the dominant. So let's just say you're wearing blue and let's just say yellow. Then if yellow is Mars, then Mars will help Jupiter. Jupiter's expansion, and Mars represents your willpower, right? So the expansion of Jupiter will aid your willpower. So your willpower is expanding due to the heavier energy of Jupiter, because Jupiter is expanding anyway. So now that you got Mars in the back of Jupiter, and Mars represents your courage, your bravery, your willpower, your ability to act and be assertive and aggressive, right? Then Jupiter is more refined. So you're going to have that bravery. You're going to have that warrior spirit because that's Mars. Mars is the warrior spirit. Then Jupiter is more refined. So you become the refined warrior because if it's just straight Mars, you can just, go crazy on people. But Jupiter gives you that finesse. Jupiter gives you, that refinement. So you're gonna have the warrior spirit, but it's gonna be refined by Jupiter, right? So hopefully that makes sense. It's just planetary combinations. You're going from the heaviest to the lightest. So the heaviest influence matters, and the lighter influence will aid the heavier influence. So that's essentially how you will be navigating the colors, right? So there we go with that. Tap into the Northern Lights live. Definitely. Like, trust me, we got a lot to go. We just getting started. And that's why I'm taking what I'm doing to the absolute extreme. You know, completely changing my diet, building up my light so that we can do these things, right? Exactly. So that's why I'm doing my part, getting my diet on point, getting the health on point, getting the spirit on point. I'm like, let me completely cleanse for the new year. We have entered into a whole new year. Pluto has just transitioned into Aquarius, right? So keep that in mind. If you're a part of my Telegram, you already know what's up. I already made the post, about Pluto transitioning into Aquarius today, Thursday, right? So Pluto, and again, so I didn't mention this. So this will be the last. Let me see if I even have enough battery to talk about this. Hold on. I can't. I don't even know how much battery I have. I don't even know how much battery I have. Let me just make this quick then. Pluto has just transitioned into Aquarius. The last time Pluto transitioned, let me see, because I just took a screenshot of this earlier. I just took a screenshot. Yeah, here we go right here. So Pluto went into Capricorn in 2008. As you see, we were just talking about 2008, right? So Pluto transitioned into Capricorn in 2008, which at this point was 15 years ago. So Pluto was in Capricorn for 15 years. So Pluto has not changed signs for the last 15 years. What's up? What's up, Harmony 9? What's up, soldier? Salute to you. Salute to the soldier, man. Much respect and love for your sacrifices always, you know. You already know. From one warrior to another, I mean, much love and respect for everything you do. Much love and respect to you. So the last time Pluto transitioned signs was 15 years ago. Now Pluto is officially in Aquarius, right? March 23rd, 2023, right? So expect change in a technological space because Pluto is now in Aquarius. So again, Pluto changed the sign every 15 years. So you see, I wasn't even an adult at that time. So that just goes to show how long it's been since Pluto has transitioned. I wasn't even an adult when the last time Pluto transitioned. So that's a whole 15-year cycle. So expect major change. And again, that's why we're dealing with AI art. That's why we're dealing with things like Chat GPT. Right? All these technological changes is due to Pluto transitioning into Aquarius. So everything, the whole technological space. That's why there's so many layoffs in the tech industry. 200,000 layoffs, over 200,000 layoff in the tech industry. That's Pluto going into Aquarius. Whatever Pluto touches will change. Pluto brings transformation. That's why we're seeing so much transformation in the tech world. That's why I've also been talking about technomancy and cyber magic. Y'all know I've been talking about that for quite some time, leading up to this point. Because now that Pluto is in Aquarius, now it's going to make so much more sense. I was just preparing you ahead of time. That's all. I was just preparing y'all ahead of time, right? Because y'all know I've been talking about technomancy and cyber magic for probably at least a year now, a year and a half. Probably even longer than that, right? I've been on that technomancy, right? But this is why. Because if you have been taking heed, now it's all you're gonna be able to see it now. See, whereas before, you may not have been able to see it, because it's just me talking about it, right? But now you're gonna be able to see it, because Pluto will show that reflection. So that was the last thing I wanted to cover, because again, I don't even know how much battery I have, and I don't want it to just cut off on me, right? So we ended there. We gave about 104 minutes, and then y'all, y'all hung in there. I don't know what fucking time it is. It's about to be 2 a.m. in the morning, 5 a.m. on the East Coast. So y'all about to start y'all day. Salute to the East Coast. Salute to the Midwest. Salute to the South. Salute to the West Coast. Salute to everybody tuning in. Salute to all the gods, the goddesses, the devils, the jinn, the demons, all those who are righteous, and all those who are devilish, right? So y'all see me tomorrow, right? Again, I'm gonna keep up the consistency, so I'm not just about to pop in and out. Y'all will see me on a consistent basis, right? And hopefully I see y'all on a consistent basis. So I'm gonna continue to show up the same way y'all show up. I'm gonna continue to add value in the best way that I can, right? So be sure again, check out the Telegram. All the links will be in the description. Check out the Telegram. Check out the website. Check out the Patreon. If you're into numerology, all the numerology is on the Patreon. All the tarot readings are on the Telegram. All the astrological breakdowns are on the website. So every month I do an astrological breakdown. All that's on the website, right? So I just separated everything. So depending on what you're into, you can just get exactly what you're into instead of just everything all in one place, right? And there's also more to come. I'll be doing, more social media stuff and all that. I'll be posting more on social media, so on and so forth. So follow all the social media with the Facebook, the TikTok, the Instagram, and I guess the Twitter as well. Again, all these links will already be in the description, so you don't have to go. So whatever you're already into, you should find me there, right? And I'm gonna become more active. You have my word. So you will be seeing me soon, and hopefully I will be seeing you soon. 93, do what thou wilt should be the whole of the law. Love under law, right? No, love under will, right? Love under will. 93, 93, 93.